A stand-up in a television news story is the place where the reporter is on camera. For better or worse, it's probably the point in the story where viewers judge you the most because they can see you, so it's important to present yourself well. Here, we'll focus on writing 3 different kinds of stand-ups. The stand-up intro, or stand-up open, the stand-up bridge, which fits in the middle and is probably the trickiest of the 3, and the stand-up close at the end. Sometimes there's one stand-up per package, and bridges and closes work well with that. But stand-up opens are usually paired with stand-up closes. For example, the open represents the beginning of a live shot, where a reporter introduces a taped news piece, then later concludes it with a stand-up close. So let's say we're doing a piece about a man who is missing. He's 50 years old, he's got a wife, a daughter, cute dog, lives in St. Joe, Michigan, and he's strangely familiar, but we'll call him Kevin Orenstein. But he's still Mr. O to you. So let's say we start the piece with a lead-in like this. Investigators in St. Joseph, Michigan are asking for your help to find a missing college professor. Our Keith Oppenheim joins us from St. Joseph with details. We could open the piece with a stand-up like this. We're at the home where police say 50-year-old Professor Kevin Orenstein was last seen by members of his family. But that was on Wednesday morning, and since then, no one seems to have any idea where he is. What was generally okay about that stand-up was that it was introductory and short, about 10 seconds. Also, it did not repeat information in the anchor lead-in, which is why it's always essential that you write your lead-in first. That way, you use your precious time better and advance the story with your stand-up open. That open also had a huge advantage. It took us to the missing man's home and set the stage. That leads us to a critical question. Where do you do your stand-up? Here are some guidelines. Stand-ups are effective when you have something to show or demonstrate, but they're often used for pictures you do not have and can cover with an explanatory bridge. Also, stand-up bridges make a transition and connect one part of the story to another. My general rule of thumb for good stand-up bridge writing is to know where the stand-up bridge is coming from in the package and where it's going to. For example, if you know of a pretty good soundbite you want to write to, you can use a stand-up to do that, but you can also cut off the first sentence, read that as voice track, and record the stand-up that's left over. That way it's shorter and it fits. Let's write, police say Orenstein's Subaru was left in the driveway and his keys were in the house. So investigators are at this point posing the question, might he have gone out for exercise and perhaps literally run into trouble? But if you use this line as voice track and this one as the stand-up, it might end up looking like this. Police say Orenstein's Subaru was left in the driveway and his keys were in the house. So at this point, investigators are posing the question, might he have gone out for exercise and perhaps literally run into trouble? That kind of strategy could be used for a stand-up close. In other words, when you're in the field, write something a bit longer, then cut your writing so you know your stand-up will fit nicely when you go back to edit. Also on stand-up closes, try not to say the obvious. For example, police are asking for your help. If you have any information about the whereabouts of Kevin Orenstein, please call authorities. Well, obviously. And because reporters are being less imaginative, they blow an opportunity to say something memorable that sums up the power of the story. Watch this. This home where Kevin Orenstein spent much of his time is filled with aspects of his life, except for the moment, the man himself. The question, is he missing because he left on his own accord or against his will? The takeaway. Stand-ups are carefully crafted parts of your story that need to introduce, conclude, or transition and show you in your best professional light. Write them, memorize them, and at this point, don't wing it. They need to be short, punchy, and like you, so very smart. I'm Mr. O.